Today, we're exploring the window operation switch, a key component in window management. We'll guide you through creating a new switch, configuring its properties, and understanding its various functions. Join us on this informative journey into window operations. The window operation switch is a component that controls the window, such as popping up a window or switching windows. Here's how you can create a new window operation switch. Navigate to Component, Switch. Window operation from the menu bar to open the interface. Configure the window operation property. Here's a detailed guide on how to set the parameters. Action. This includes the press and release actions. Action. After performing an action on the window operation switch, the following functions can be executed. Switch window. This action closes the current window and opens a different, specified window. It's like changing the channel on a TV. You leave one channel and switch to another. Close pop-up window. This is an action that closes a window that has popped up the current window. To enable this, you need to include a Close Pop-up Window button or option within the pop-up window itself. Pop-up. This action opens a specified window over the current window, much like how an advertisement or notification might appear on a website. Return to previous window. This action closes the current window and reopens the window you were in before. It's like using the back button in a web browser. Window control bar. This is a tool that allows you to move the position of a pop-up window on the screen. To use it, you need to include a window control bar option within the pop-up window. Return to the main window. This action closes the current window and brings you back to the main or home window of the application. Customize the main window. This refers to the ability to change the layout or features of the main window. You can usually find this option by going to Settings, then System Settings, then Global Settings in the application's menu bar. Now let's put it into the test. Now we will be diving into the world of function keys and their various applications. Function keys are versatile components used to perform specific operations, including keyboard functions, executing macros, system operations, and even printing. We'll explore the keyboard function. This function allows you to create a function key that can perform a variety of tasks, such as entering a new line, moving the cursor, selecting text, and even mapping to the built-in function keys of the HMI. Next, we'll discuss the execute macro function. This function lets you perform specific actions on the execute macro component, which then executes a specific macro. You can select an existing macro in the project or create a new one. Afterwards, we'll cover the system operation function. This function allows you to perform system operations such as touch panel calibration, import, export, and more by performing an action on the system operation component. Finally, we'll talk about the print function. To implement this function, the HMI needs to be connected to a printer. Performing an action on the printer component will print the window screen information. So if you're ready to dive into the world of function keys, let's get started. Here's how you can create a function key with a keyboard function. Navigate to Component. Switch. Function key from the menu bar to open the interface. Set the function setting to Keyboard Function and edit the relevant parameters. Here's a detailed guide on how to set the parameters. Action. This includes the press and release actions. Function operation. After performing an action on the function key, the following functions can be executed. Enter. Enter a new line. Backspace. Move the cursor back to the previous character and delete the previous character. Clear. Clear the current input content of the numeric input or text input component. Cancel. Cancel the previous operation. Unicode. Set the input character of the text input component, which can be a numeric key, 0.9, ASCII code, or Unicode character. Move the cursor. Move the cursor in the set direction, including up, down, left, right, to the beginning of the line, to the end of the line, to the first character, or to the last character. This function is only effective for input components. Select the text. Set the operation for selecting text content, including start selecting and end selecting. This function is only effective for input components. Text operation. Operations on text content, including copy, cut, and paste. This function is only effective for input components. Mapping. Keyboard. You can map the corresponding function to the built-in function keys F1 Alt F8 of the HMI, including forward, backward, up, down, cancel, and enter. Set the properties for indicator light, label, etc., and click OK. The execute macro function allows you to perform specific actions, such as press and release, on the execute macro component, which then executes a specific macro. You can select an existing macro in the project or create a new one. Here's how to create a new execute macro. In the Function Key Properties dialog box, set the function setting to Execute Macro and click Macro Code. Click Create Macro in the pop-up Common Macro dialog box. In the pop-up Create Macro dialog box, edit the macro name and description and click OK. Edit the macro code in C language and click Compile. After successful compilation, click Select and Exit. Edit the relevant parameters and click OK. The parameters include Action. This includes the press and release actions. Function operation. Select a specified macro. Click Edit to modify the macro, and click Macro Code to create a new macro. Set the properties for indicator light, label, etc., and click OK. Click any position in the window to insert the Execute Macro component. Performing actions, such as press and release, on the Execute Macro component will execute the specific macro. You can select an existing macro in the project or create a new one. The System Operation function allows you to perform system operations, such as touch panel calibration, import, export, and more, by performing an action, press or release, on the System Operation component. Here's how to create a new system operation. In the Function Key Properties dialog box, set the function setting to System Operation, edit the relevant parameters, and click OK. The parameters include Action. This includes the press and release actions. Function operation. After performing an action on the system operation component, the following functions can be executed. Touch panel calibration. Calibrate the touchscreen of the HMI. Import, export. This includes importing a project to HMI, exporting a project from HMI, importing a recipe to HMI, exporting a recipe from HMI, exporting RW data from HMI, and importing RW data to HMI. This function needs to be used with a file browser and is only applicable to HMIs with a USB host interface or SD card slot. Save screenshot to extended storage. Save the HMI screen content in BMP image format to an external storage device for printing or viewing the running state of the HMI screen. This function is only applicable to HMIs with a USB host interface. Clear event. Clear the alarm events by event group. Clear all recipes. Clear RW. Clear the contents of all power-off saved RW storage areas. Clear all historical data. Set the properties for indicator light, label, etc., and click OK. Step 3. Click anywhere in the window to insert the system operation component. Performing an action, press or release on the system operation component will execute the related operation, including touch panel calibration, import, export, etc. To implement the printing function, the human-machine interface, HMI, needs to be connected to a printer. The printer information should be set in the following path: Settings, Communication Settings, Printer Interface. Performing an action, such as pressing, on the printer component will print the window screen information. Here's how to create a new print component. In the Function Key Properties dialog box, set the function setting to Print, configure the relevant parameters, and click OK. The parameters include action. This includes the press and release actions. Function operation. This includes horizontal print and vertical print. Set the properties for indicator light, label, etc., and click OK. Click any position in the window to insert the print component. Performing an action, such as pressing on the printer component, will print the window screen information.